Hey, Bill Shaka here. Welcome to another edition of the 5-Minute Motivator. I am at one of my favorite places. This is a microbrewery in Tamarindo, Costa Rica called Brothers of Ale. And as you can see, I guess I am one of the brothers because I come here quite often for some of their microbrews that I absolutely enjoy. It's a wonderful place to be. I'll just give you an idea of the actual grounds here. And you can see that it really is a cool place just to sit down, have a micro brew, and to just relax and take in the beautiful Costa Rican summer. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Today we are going to talk about the notion of weakness and how we can eradicate weakness from our lives. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we all have areas of weakness in our life. Think about it. There are things that we do on a consistent basis. The behavior that we have is associated with levels of weakness. I mean, I'll give you an example. I've never met a cannoli that I haven't loved. Every time I go into New York City, I stop down at Little Italy and I go to a place called Ferrara's. And if I'm in New York City for a week and I go to Ferrara's enough, if I have as many cannolis sticking out of me as I have stuck in me, I'd look like a sea urchin. The end result is that that's a weakness. But it's not a debilitating weakness because, frankly, I don't get into New York City that often. I'm talking about weaknesses such as the inability to get up to spend time in personal development, the inability to perhaps control our temper when we think we should, the inability to not have the level of patience that we should have based on certain situations in our life, the inability to ineffectively communicate with individuals. These are weaknesses that we have. And the question becomes, how in fact do we overcome these weaknesses? Well, I've got some news for you. You don't overcome a weakness. You never overcome a weakness. The reason is weaknesses don't exist. In this construct, this metaphysical matrix that we live in called reality, try to find weakness. Grab a shoebox and go around and fill it up with weakness. You can't do it because it's a mental model. The way that you overcome weakness is by, well, I guess I just told you, by overcoming it. You leave weakness behind. You don't smother it with strength. You simply leave weakness behind. You replace it with various thoughts and ideas that will make you stronger. And by doing that, what we do is we create this kind of momentum toward strength. But we create the momentum toward strength by taking the weakness and leaving it behind. That place that we are now eradicated from the weakness is a vacuum, and we begin to fill that with strengths. Now, this is a behavioral model, and it works fairly well. I know I've used it a lot in the past. Okay, you replace, for example, lack of exercise with small amounts of exercise. You don't replace weakness all at once. You don't go from a sedate lifestyle to running the Boston Marathon in 3 weeks. You do it gradually. Because you know what? There's no such thing as all of a sudden. Keep that phrase in mind, all of a sudden. You're going to see that in another 5-Minute Motivator. But what we're talking about here right now is taking this notion of weakness and leaving it behind. Now, as I said, this is a mental model. You need to think through this. The first thing I would suggest you do is find out what changes you would like to make in your life. What positive, proactive changes are going to be important to you. Think about why you're not putting them into practice at this moment, and then determine particular mental models to slowly put them into practice. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the mantra is very simple. You don't suppress weakness. You don't overcome weakness. greatness behind. This is Bill Shaka thanking you for listening to another edition of the 5 Minute Motivator. We'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.